Now on that swing, I used a simple trick that not only are some of the top pros on TV not using, nor are some of the top teachers in the world teaching. And I'll show you proof of that right after this. It's so simple, but it's gonna make your golf game and your consistency so much easier. You wanna know what it is? You gotta stay tuned. All right, so check out this still image from the video in the intro. You'll see that at address, and I'm hitting a 56-degree sand wedge there, that I clearly have a pretty healthy forward lean on the club. Now that's what this club was designed, how it was designed to strike the ground correctly. And yet, a lot of evidence that a lot of top pros and top teachers do not use or advocate this kind of setup, but instead, you'll notice here's a top teacher that you might recognize, and you can see what let's say, assume that he's swinging a 7-iron. You can see the difference between the first photo and the simulated impact photo, that he is changing that position around 3 inches or so. So he'd be going from no forward lean at address to 3 or 4 inches of lean at impact. Now the problem is that from club to club, that's going to progressively change. On my 3-iron, I'm only going to need to find about 1 inch of forward lean. So that's not too big of an adjustment. But then on my sand wedge, I'm going to need to find almost 5 inches of forward lean if I'm going to strike with the leading edge correctly, get the right trajectory, the right distance and height out of it. Now here's a photo of the world's #1 player for a long time, or at least close to it, Dustin Johnson, showing you the same thing, that he is not leaning the shaft forward at address, and he has to change his impact position compared to his address position. Now, that would be easy if you just hit with one club all the way around the course. I think you would tend to be able to memorize the difference between here and here with just one club. But what happens when, let's set these balls up like this. What happens when you've got to memorize 13 different clubs, or like 11 different clubs? Now, if I just set up this way, you see, I'm already set up where I'm trying to make impact with all these clubs, but I haven't changed anything about the way I'm standing over the ball. The handles are all coming right to my mid-thigh. If you extended this line into space, it would go right through my left hip. Every club in the bag should be right there. And this way, it's much simpler for me to simply return the club to the same angle as where I started. It's a lot simpler than trying to find these 3 different forward leans somewhere during the motion. Wouldn't you rather just change the tool, but keep the motion the same for every club in the bag? That would be so much simpler. All right, let's check out each of these clubs individually, and we'll key in on the forward lean at address. Here's a 56-degree sand wedge. I want this to lean forward around 4.5 to 5 inches. That means handle in front of the leading edge. Something like this. And then I just have to swing back to this at impact. Now with the 7-iron, I want about 3 inches of forward lean. That sets it right about there. And then I simply just have to swing the same as the sand wedge, and everything comes out the same. Now a 3-iron is designed for only about 1 inch of forward lean at the moment of impact. It's designed to be sweepier than a wedge. So here I'm going to set it up the same 1 inch forward of lean as that I'm going to be shooting for at impact. Something like this. So there you have it. You can take every iron in your bag. Even the driver works kind of like this too. And instead of trying to figure out how to find that missing forward lean you need for all the compression and the forward divot strike, but instead just set it up at address. The big key being that every handle is going to be in the middle of my thigh at setup. Then the swing motion becomes so much simpler just to return it back to where you started. All right, I'm gonna go back and practice a little bit more with this forward lean idea because I'm hitting them good and it's just fun. I'm Steve, thanks so much for watching, and as usual, hey, I'll either see you in the next video or I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.